Let's freaking go. AIDAN Anding commits to LSU. Comment below, do you believe this is the best defensive commitment for the Tigers yet? Because in the background, you see a punt return tutty versus Zachary in the state championship game. And you'll see he is that glorious Louisiana 3-star recruit as a 3-star composite on 247 Sports. In the background, you actually see him intercepting his future teammate and potential same position player in Juwan Johnson, if Johnson, of course, ends up playing corner. And that's him at quarterback throwing the pick here to Anding and him showing you some great return skills off a defensive play as well. So I'm going to share with you what I like, what I don't like. This is simply what we do in every single video. Now, before I give my personal evaluation, like we always do on the channel, we start things off with the recruitment. And this right here, what I'm about to share, might actually make AIDAN Anding your favorite player in this class. I understand the 5 stars like Bryce Underwood and Harlan Berry are truly going to be needle movers. But one thing about Anding's recruitment that showed you that he really wants to be at LSU is his actions. This was a guy that was heavily considered to being a Texas Longhorn commit, and he was set to commit, but he pushed everything back when LSU and Frank Wilson really started to pick up the steam. So, is that representative of anything? I think so. You can make a very strong case that the future of LSU football is honestly going to be a really rich rivalry with Texas when it comes to recruiting. We saw what Texas did with Derek Williams, a Louisiana 4-star defensive back who ended up going to Texas, and he's pretty daggum good out of Westgate, and he would be probably the best safety we would have on our roster. We don't want to lose Louisiana recruits to the state of Texas. We also saw this with Arch Manning, even though he was never going to LSU. That's a little bit of a different thing. But also a guy like Jamon Tapp, who, even though he's not necessarily panned out, was a pretty elite 4-star defensive end out of Louisiana. Something else, North Louisiana is different than South Louisiana. I understand that that is a duh remark, but when you take a look at the distances from Ruston to actually Baton Rouge, it's probably about a 4-ish hour drive, and the distance from Ruston to Austin is probably about 6 hours. So it's still a distance, right? North Louisiana, you don't want to lose the best North Louisiana players to the Texas schools, right? That's something that we don't want to fall behind on, and we know North Louisiana produces really good football players. Not at the same clip that South Louisiana does, but you want to fence in the entire state of Louisiana. We don't want them setting up in our state. That's just something that's very key. So when it comes to recruiting, this was very impressive and was a big win for LSU because Texas really did want him. Now, as a player, I'm going to be honest with you. One of my favorite things about Anding, press man coverage. Most of the clips you see, it's him right in the receiver's grill. That is a lot harder to do than playing off zone coverage. And I've seen other DB recruits that LSU has brought in or recruited in the past that play in systems that aren't really good for the long-term development of the player. This is the best development when Kyle Williams, the defensive coordinator, yes, that Kyle Williams, the LSU legend, is trusting this guy to be on an island with hardly any safety help versus some of the best receivers you will see in Louisiana. That's something else I love. Louisiana DBs go up against Louisiana wide receivers, and Louisiana wide receivers are the best type of wide receiver you can recruit. Just take a look at the NFL, take a look at, other colleges. There have been plenty of other Louisiana receivers that didn't go to LSU and produce at a high level. So Anding, the ball skills are absolutely incredible. Punt return, all that good stuff. The guy can flat out play. Now, there is a little bit of a downside here. Anding is just a 3-star recruit. There's not a service that just hates him, but there's also not one that just loves him. I do think he will rise now that this LSU thing has happened. Also athletically, 5'11", 160. I think he can fill out a little bit more, but you see his track and field times. They aren't unfreaking believably impressive, but good enough for him to actually compete in track and field. And you do see from Brett McCormick here his ridiculous resume. I know it's a lot to take in, so I'm leaving it on the screen for a while. And one more interesting anecdote is, well, his younger brother is also very interesting as a prospect.
Well, there's not a lot of kids I think can walk onto a state runner-up team having not played football since junior high and make the impact that you made. How were you able to work your way into being such a pivotal part of this team?
You know, Coach King, my coach, my cornerback coach, he prepared me. He had trust in me. He had faith in me. He already knew I was going to be able to perform at a level like this. So, you know, he worked with me all summer, and we just kept grinding.
So take a look at my guy in the background here on this yellow scooter thing. I mean, he is flying. He is ready to go home. I totally get it. But that question was a really good one because it pointed out that AIDAN Anding just picked up the game of football for the first time since middle school, and to immediately be the starting press corner against some of the best receivers in the entire state, winning a state championship after Ruston lost in the state finals the year before, shows you that this man is willing to do whatever it takes for the team, and that's why I love him. And in the background, you see him knocking down 8 3-pointers in a single game. He is a basketball player. Now, I don't know if he'll play at LSU because he is just 5'11", but man, 8 3-pointers in a high school game. He also had another one where he only had 7 3-pointers. Come on, Aiden, pick it up. The dude is very impressive the deeper you dive. Now, as many of you know, we have the PHL Patreon. I actually did this film study on Patreon when I started hearing about Aiden, and I want you to look really closely who he's going up against here. This is Anding, and you know, when I watch a player, I love to see you going up against the best of the best, and this is 5-star LSU tight end Trades Green. So let's see how he does in this rep in a state championship setting. Look at this. This is actually not that bad of a ball. Of course, you know, if you're a quarterback and you're 6'8", going up against, you know, a corner that's like 6'1", and Trades is more like 6'6". The ball, of course, you want to be put over here. Ironically, this is where Quinn Ewers missed a back shoulder to, what's the receiver of the Colts name? Adonai Mitchell for a potential comeback versus Washington. You know, this isn't the absolute best ball location, but watch where Anding is, met it at its highest point, and was able to create a deflection. In fact, he was closer to catching this football than Trades was. Let's give it one more look-see here. And once again, it is going at full speed, not doing a slow-mo for this one. Take a look at this. That's really, really good stuff. Here he is against Trades Green again, okay? Once again, giving up a lot here. And this quarterback, of course, is just throwing it up to Trades in the triple coverage, and Anding almost picked it off. Here he is going up against Trades Green again, and they're just running a go route. Of course, he had some help here, but I love the fact that he goes up to the football at its highest point. That's how it's done as a number one corner, and here he is. Of course, there is a safety over the top of this, so this isn't some amazing play. This quarterback, of course, you should never throw this. This is truly the definition of F it, Trades is somewhere down there meme. Watch it again, and look at this, okay? Yeah, that should never be thrown. And I know it's like bobbly here. Let's see if we can stabilize this a little bit. We can't. But he did get up at its highest point and almost pick that ball off. So if you want extra news and breakdowns, please go sign up for the PHL Patreon. $9.99 a month, and you get a Joe Burrow card in the mail from me. So I don't remember the young man's name, but it was someone that apparently knew Aiden. He actually came to the Shreveport Arklatex Memorabilia Card Show, our last PHL get-together. Big shout-out to everyone that showed up to that. He actually came to the show so he could tell me about AIDAN Anding and the LSU team. So I don't remember your name. It was a very brief convo, but please comment below if that was you. I want to send you something because thank you for putting AIDAN on my radar. Well, I actually kind of knew about him before that, but still, I love the fact that this guy has supporters that are willing to do that. So, look, I am really excited. I do think LSU needs to have a pretty big defensive back class, even though there are some younger guys that are on the roster that I'm high on in the future. So let's just see what happens there. Now, comment down below your thoughts on if you think he's the best defensive commitment up to this point. And, yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Floating in your face some other fun videos. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom. And tonight, we're doing lemon pepper chicken wings. Let's go.